Hello, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Engineering Without Borders, a podcast where we explore engineering beyond structures, beyond projects, and beyond geographical boundaries. I'm your host, Engineer Ron Palo, a professional civil engineer and a transportation engineer with the California Department of Transportation. So, joining me today is my fellow engineer, a colleague, a co PIC USA, and my co host, Engineer Dexter Ramagosa. Dex, welcome to our very first episode.
Thank you, Sir Ron. It is exciting to finally launch this platform. So, for many years, engineers have been solving problems, building bridges, designing roads, developing communities, and improving quality of life. But today, engineering is no longer limited by borders. A Filipino engineer can design a highway in California, managing a construction project in the Middle East, contribute to global consulting firm, or bring international knowledge back to the Philippines. That is the inspiration behind engineering without borders.
Exactly. Our goal is to create conversations about the engineering profession, leadership, innovation, career growth, and the opportunities available to Filipino engineers around the world. Whether you are a civil engineering student, a young professional, an experienced practitioner, or a Filipino engineer working overseas, this podcast is for you. We'll discuss topics that will interest you. So let's move to our first segment, Dex. So, why engineering without borders? So, I think that's our theme for our first segment, right?
Well, Sir Ron, why did we choose the name engineering without borders? What does that phrase means to you?
For me, engineering has always been something about solving human problems. And I learned that lesson during my first year in college, first semester. I wanted to be an architect, but at that time we cannot afford college expenses. So it was a problem. And knowing that predicament at that time, I knew if I don't look for a solution, I won't be able to finish studies. So I looked for a career aligned with architecture at the time. And I took engineering not because I love math. It's because I love drawing structures and hope to build them one day. So I thought civil engineering was the most aligned and cheaper alternative course. Kasi I know at that time, kailangan mo lang ng calculator, di ba? Calculator and notebook sa likod ng bulsa ko. And then later, nalaman ko na ganun din pala yun. Mas mura lang ng konti. We're here because, I never look back. Civil engineering actually breeds my career transition. Yung balak ko maging architecture before and now until I became an engineer. And speaking of bridge, now that we're professionals and we work in other countries, the bridge that we build does not ask what country you came from or what school you graduated from, diba? And the roads do not care about your nationality either. Infrastructure exists
Yeah.
because people need connection, safety, and opportunity. And I guess this is the same principle. This same principle applies to engineers too. Knowledge, experience, and innovation should not be limited by geography. And a Filipino engineer in Manila or anywhere else can contribute to the same global mission of improving lives through engineering. Right,
Yeah,
Doc?
that's a powerful idea. So many Filipino engineers have already proven themselves internationally, especially yung mga kababayan natin nasa Middle East. Not only here in the US, but Middle East and any parts of the world. So we see Filipino engineers working on major infrastructure projects around the world. So why do you think Filipino engineers are respected globally?
Yeah. I think there are several reasons to that. First, I think is technical capability. Filipino engineers received a strong engineering education and are very adaptable.
Mm-hmm.
Second, I think is our work ethic. Filipino engineers are known for dedication, for professionalism, and the willingness to take on challenges. Kaya gustong-gusto nila yung mga Pilipino. I don't know kung napapansin mo yun, but for me, I know. I can say that as a fact. Third is our ability to communicate and work with different cultures. As you know, engineering today is not only about the traditional way, calculations,
Mm-hmm.
drawings. It's about collaboration and human relationship, right?
Yeah,
Dex.
that's correct. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I had the same experience also, just like yours. Na because of hardship, although before, my father is he was a army engineer, and that inspired me to take up civil engineering in my college years. Yeah. So in that case, Sir Ron, so you have personally experienced engineering beyond borders. Can you share your journey from being an engineer to the Philippines to working internationally?
Yeah, it's a long story. If I tell this, it won't be enough to to share is in this podcast. But you know, to summarize it, my journey taught me that engineering is it's a lifelong learning process. When I started my career, I focused on technical skills and the usual thing. All of us gain
Mm-hmm.
experience. But as I moved to other companies, into larger projects and into international environment, I realized that success requires more than engineering knowledge. You need leadership. You need to have a good communication skills. You you need to understand the project management and the ability to is very important. The ability to work with people from different backgrounds.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is an important message, especially for young engineers. So many students think that passing the board exam is the final destination, but really that is just the beginning of your journey into our profession.
exactly. A professional license gives you the opportunity to practice, but continuous learning determines how far you can go with your career. Engineering is a profession where you should I say never stop growing,
Yeah, that's
right?
correct. That's why, so for our the third segment, let's try to talk about global engineer beyond technical skills. So let's talk about what it means to become a global engineer. What skills should the engineer develop aside from technical expertise, Ron?
I say a lot. I would say, but I think there are five important areas where you need to uh, really pay attention. First, I think I can never stress this enough. First is communication.
Mhm.
Even a brilliant engineer who cannot communicate ideas effectively will struggle. When working with other people, with a team. So you
Yeah.
need to have that communication skill. You need to be able to convey your ideas,
Mhm.
what you think, your thoughts. Second, I think, is leadership. you know Engineers eventually, this manage teams. You have a construction, you manage projects. With that, you manage budgets and you make decisions, right?
Mhm.
So third, I think, is adaptability. uh, with the fast changing environment. Technology changes quickly.
Yeah.
Engineers must continue learning. Fourth, I think, it's ethics.
Mm.
Engineering decisions affect public safety and communities. So relationship is very important with our peers, with our coworkers. So ethics is, I think, very important. Showing respect.
Yeah.
All that. And then I think fifth is the cultural awareness. Global projects like what we do here. We're not in the Philippines. We're working in other countries, not just in the U.S. Also from engineers working in other countries. Global projects involve people from different countries and backgrounds. So I think it's important to acknowledge that, understand their culture, and then, uh, all the time. I think if you can do it, show respect to your
Yeah.
to your coworkers and to other people.
Yeah, I
It's very
agree.
important.
Yeah. Sometimes engineers focus heavily on technical certifications but overlook soft skills. So I remember when I was still starting here in the US, it's good that I learned AutoCAD training. So I know how to use the AutoCAD in the Philippines already. And actually, I taught that subject, AutoCAD. So when I came here, the first company that hired me, they told me, we are not hiring you as an engineer in training, but as a technician. So in my case, yeah, I'm willing to be hired as a technician. So I would like to start with it. So that's the time that I was able to use my skills, my soft skills in AutoCAD. And to cut it short, in the international environment, those skills often determine career advancement. So from in my case, from a simple technician, I rose from the rank to a site engineer already. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, you have to start somewhere, 'di ba, Doc? Sometimes there is this misconception about engineers who work abroad. They think like, because we're professional back in the Philippines, we're experienced,
Hmm.
they can immediately get an engineering
Yeah,
job
yeah,
in other
yeah.
countries. That's very true. We're capable, actually, right? But sometimes, kagaya dito sa US, even though you mentioned you started as a technician, I started as a technician too, because when I came here, I thought I was equipped with my 19 years of experience in design and construction, and I have my professional license in the Philippines. I was, surprised to know that they don't
They don't
recognize that.
recognize it.
Yeah, they don't recognize that here. So I thought like, oh well, I need to prove myself. So, but I had to start somewhere, just like
Hmm.
you at the
Hmm.
time. So the easiest way for me to get into engineering field is to, get to the lowest step.
Yeah,
You have
yeah.
to start somewhere. So
Yeah.
nag-start din ako as a technician. When I got into the government service, once you set your foot in, you open the door to a lot of
Mhm,
opportunities.
mhm.
But at that time, I know that I can apply for an engineering position. Unfortunately, I got into that period where there is a hiring freeze. So it took me like about years as a technician before I was able to move to a promotion as a
Oh,
transportation engineer. But I did not regret my that experience was not wasted. I was involved, like in inspection, field inspection, material testing, structural estimating, CAD development, plans preparation,
yeah,
all
yeah.
that, and specification. Hindi naman nasayang, hindi kasi dito sa US they call it technician, but actually in our country, in the
Mhm.
Philippines, they call it like a junior, an
Engineer.
engineering
Yeah,
aid, 'di ba?
yeah,
An
yeah,
engineering aid.
yeah.
So Other than that, one important topic that we want to discuss in a future episode, I guess, is international recognition of engineers. Kasi minsan, like what I've said earlier, even though you're equipped with experience and your license, sometimes, a lot of times, those are not recognized. You have to prove that you gained those, right? So many Filipino engineers, those international qualification like APEC, some of them, many of them, they do not fully understand what those international recognitions offer or benefit them, right?
Okay,
Um,
so why not let's introduce the topic.
okay.
APEC engineer, yeah, APEC engineer is part of a movement toward professional mobility among economies in
Mhm,
the Asia Pacific.
mhm.
And the goal is to recognize engineers who met international standards of education, experience, and professional competence.
Exactly. For Filipino engineers, credentials like APEC engineer, ASEAN chartered professional engineer, and recently international professional engineer can provide opportunities for broader professional recognition. But beyond the title, the biggest question is, how do we prepare ourselves to meet global standards? I know you made a lot of preparations to get where you are now, right? And those
Mm,
you did here in the US, right?
yeah, so it's hard to say that I experience a somewhat kung minsan sasabihin na natin na nananaginip ba ako ngayon? Parang gano'n, eh. So, that is something we want to explore deeply in future episodes. We want to
Mhm.
talk about how to qualify, what experience is needed, how international recognition benefits engineers, and how Filipino engineers can compete globally.
Yeah.
So that gives us the next topic that I want to open up. It's the role of professional organizations. So, so Ron, since both of us are involved in professional engineering organizations, let's talk about their role. Why are organizations like the PICE important?
Well, we're both members of the uh, Philippine Institute of Civil Engineer USA, right? So
Mhm.
it's a professional organization in our country, professional organization of civil engineers. So professional organization like PIC USA provide something engineers, you know, cannot achieve alone. These professional organizations, they create networks, mentorships, opportunities.
Yeah.
They provide technical learning, and they are the collective voice for the profession. Organizations connect engineers across generations.
Mhm.
A young engineer can learn from someone with 30 years of experience, right? And on the other way around, an experienced engineer can learn from younger professionals who bring new ideas and technology.
Do you think professional organizations should be more to prepare Filipino engineers for global practice?
Absolutely, yeah. I think organizations should promote international certifications. They should promote technical training, leadership development, global networking. Mentorship programs are important. So the future engineer should not only be prepared to work locally, but also uh, be able to compete internationally,
Internationally?
right? So,
Yes,
so
sure.
let's look ahead. Civil engineering is changing rapidly. We have now the artificial intelligence, these automations we call the uh, BIM, the
Oh,
BIM.
BIM. Yeah.
Yes,
The
the
build.
digital, yes, digital twins. We talk about sustainability and you know uh, climate resilience projects are transforming how we design and build, right?
Yeah. So, what opportunities do you see for Filipino engineers in this changing environment?
I think the opportunities are, should I say, tremendous.
Yeah.
Engineers who embrace technology and continue learning will remain valuable and competitive. So I think the future engineer is not only someone who knows how to design structures. The future engineer that I see is someone who understands technology, you know, sustainability, economics, and they know how to consider the society.
Yeah, you're correct. Engineer must be a wholesome package. So, before we close our first episode, let's share some advice. What message would you give to a young engineer listening today?
Well, I think with all my experience, since I started until I moved here in the US, I think the experience that I can impart to younger engineers is, do not limit yourself. Your engineering degree is your passport, but your experiences, your character primarily, and continuous learning are what will take you around the world.
Yeah,
Build relationship, professional relationships, develop your skills, and remember that whatever you practice, you represent not only yourself but also the Filipino engineering profession as a whole.
wow, what a
Yeah.
beautiful message, Sister Ron. So, engineering is truly a profession without borders.
Hmm. Yeah. So, Dex, you're my co-host. I hope you stay permanently in this. thank you. Thank you for joining me here. And to our listeners and our viewers, thank you for joining us on our first episode of Engineering Without Borders. We hope this podcast becomes a place where engineers can learn, share experiences, and be inspired. Dex.
Yeah, so in our future episodes, we will be discussing topics including the international engineering credentials, APEC engineer, and global mobility. We also have career experiences of Filipino engineers worldwide. We have emerging technologies, leadership in engineering, lessons from major infrastructure projects. So we will have a very interesting topics in coming episodes.
I agree. Those are a lot of interesting topic to listen to. So, if you enjoy this episode, please subscribe to our podcast, follow us on YouTube, share and follow Engineers Without Borders. Again, I am Engineer Ron Palo.
And I am engineer Dexter Ramagoza.
So until next time,
Keep learning
and keep building.
and keep engineering a better world.
So that's it for our first episode. Thank you and good night. See you on the next episode.
Good night, everybody.